Billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates is apologizing to staff after renewed scrutiny over his past ties to Jeffrey Epstein. At a town hall meeting, Gates called the association a huge mistake that damaged the foundation's reputation worldwide. According to the Wall Street Journal, Gates told employees he did nothing illicit and saw nothing illegal firsthand. He stressed he never spent time with victims and denied witnessing any misconduct during meetings with Epstein. Gates said newly released images showing him with redacted women were taken at Epstein's request after meetings. He apologized to colleagues who he said were drawn into controversy because of his decision to engage with Epstein. A spokesperson reportedly said Gates spoke candidly and took responsibility while answering staff questions in detail. Gates first met Epstein in 2011, 3 years after the financier pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor. Despite that conviction, meetings between the two men continued through 2014, raising further questions. Gates admitted he did not properly check Epstein's background despite knowing travel limits were imposed. He also continued the relationship after concerns were raised by his then-wife, Melinda French Gates. Reports say Gates flew on Epstein's private jet and met him in several cities in the United States and Europe. Gates insisted that he never stayed overnight with Epstein and never visited his private island. Epstein died by suicide in a New York jail cell in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. The controversy resurfaced after the Justice Department released thousands of documents known as the Epstein Files. Those records include emails and logs detailing connections between Epstein and prominent public figures. During the town hall, Gates also admitted to 2 affairs with Russian women during his marriage. He said those relationships were unrelated to Epstein and did not involve any of Epstein's victims. Gates acknowledged that his association helped burnish Epstein's reputation and cast a shadow over the foundation's work. Remember, in 2013, Epstein sent an email to himself about how Gates caught STDs after having affairs with Russian girls.
Can you assure the American public that President Trump, like every other prominent person whose name came up in relation to the Epstein files, that all documents, photos, and anything relevant to him connected to the case are being released?
I mean, yes, I can assure that we complied with the statute, we complied with the act, and there is no, we did not protect President Trump, we didn't protect or not protect anybody. I mean, I think that we there's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents. And there's nothing I can do about that. But President Trump, of all the people in Washington, D.C. and around this country that have said for years the same consistent message about Jeffrey Epstein is President Trump. And so there's not been a change of course or anything, and certainly his direction to the American people and the his direction to the Department of Justice was to be as transparent, release the files, be as transparent as we can. And that's exactly what we did. Today we are producing more than 3 million pages, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the Act. Just a quick note about the videos and images. The 2,000 videos and 180,000 images are not all videos and images taken by Mr. Epstein or someone around him. They include large quantities of commercial pornography and images that were seized from Epstein's devices, but which he did not take or that someone around him did not take. Some of the videos, though, and some of the images do appear to be taken by Mr. Epstein or by others around him. Now, I want to talk for a few minutes about the department's document identification and review protocols. It consisted of multiple layers of review and quality control designed to ensure compliance under the Act and protect victims. On top of the review protocols that the department had in place, the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York employed an additional review protocol to ensure compliance with a court order requiring United States Attorney Jay Clayton to certify that with respect to certain materials, a large quantity of the materials, a rigorous process was undertaken to protect victims against any clearly unwarranted invasion of their personal privacy. The department's collection effort resulted in more than 6 million pages being identified as potentially responsive, including department and FBI emails, interview summaries, images, videos, and various other materials collected and generated during the various investigations and prosecutions that the Act covered. We erred on the side of over-collection of materials from various sources to best ensure maximum transparency and compliance, which necessarily means that the number of responsive pages is significantly smaller than the total number of pages initially collected. That's why I mentioned a moment ago we're releasing more than 3 million pages today and not the 6 million pages that we collected. I want to address what we didn't produce. The categories of documents withheld include those permitted under the Act to be withheld, files that contain personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files, and similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Any depiction of CSAM or child pornography was obviously excluded. Anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. And finally, anything that depicts or contain images of death, physical abuse, or injury, also not produced. Although the Act allows for withholding for items necessary to keep secret in the interest of national security or foreign policy, no files are being withheld or redacted on that basis. Further, as we previously stated in our December 19th letter of last year, the department withheld or redacted files covered by various privileges, as we always do, including deliberative process privilege, work product privilege, and attorney-client privilege.